Hey there folks, this is GreenXI, welcoming you right back to Let's Play Higurashi. This is episode 97. In last episode, we started chapter 6 and Satoshi's aunt and Satoko's aunt has been murdered brutally, her face bashed in. It was a really good part actually, really to the point, blunt, succinct. You know, there was nothing padded out about it and that's what I really liked about it. That's what I'm liking about this arc in general so far. Anyways, now we're gonna see how it continues, because it's bound to get quite dark now, I would think. Sis called the morning after the Watanagashi festival to tell me that the curse had struck again for the 4th time. The victim was the evil aunt who was harassing Satoshi-kun and Satoko. Satoshi-kun's suffering should be over now, since the problem was with Satoko and her aunt's relationship to begin with. Maybe I should have celebrated, but I wasn't in the mood for some reason. Do the police have a lead on the suspect? Sis went quiet when I asked that. I don't know. Ooishi seems to be questioning people in the neighbourhood. He thinks the culprit is somebody close to the victim. Being identical twins, Sis and I think very much alike. If I suspected Satoshi-kun of being the murderer, so would she. Because of this, I didn't have to mention the obvious. Does Satoshi-kun have an alibi for that day? I don't know. Ha! I heaved a huge sigh. You stupid! He was at the festival. Didn't you see him there? Yeah, right. I'm sorry I didn't realise that. I heaved another sigh. Sis was stupid enough to forget to make an alibi for him, even though the murder of his aunt alone would raise enough suspicion. So, that means he did do it? That's not important now. The problem is whether he has an alibi or not. Well, the police are going to come here later. I'll tell them I was with him at the festival. Sis, lying out of the blue like that won't work. If you haven't done anything to ensure his alibi, it's too late now. Please just be honest with them. I can't trust your acting skill. You might raise more suspicion if you make something up on the spot. Yeah, sorry. She sounded depressed. I was the one who should have been depressed. Mion usually handles things well, but she's not too good with emergencies. I was left worried for the future of the Sonzaki family. Yeah, she's going to be taken over. Mion must have been embarrassed. She soon changed the subject. I guess you haven't been able to work lately, have you? You're right, I haven't. Thanks to you. I'm sorry about that. I'll hide somewhere until tonight, so maybe you can work today? Sis has been appearing in public places during festival preparations and whatnot. As a result, I haven't been able to pretend to be her. I hadn't been able to work. As someone who had to support myself, it was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I didn't feel like working. But I couldn't afford to be sitting around either. When I locked my apartment door before leaving, the door of the next apartment over opened and Kasai appeared. Oh. He's living next door, is he? Shion-san, you heading out? Yeah. I'm going to work, since this gave me time until tonight. Can you give me a ride? Shion-san, wouldn't it be safer for you to take a few days off? The police seem to be staking out the main house. I don't think it's a good idea to leave. I appreciate your concern, but I have to make money to survive. Kasai might suggest he'd donate money to my cause. However, I'd sworn to myself when I started living here that I wouldn't depend on Kasai. While I don't obey anyone else's rules, I stick to my own. Kasai could tell that I was adamant in my decision. So after repeating himself a couple of times as a formal procedure, he decided to give me a ride after all. Not gonna rely on him though. No. Every time we went to my uncle's store by car, we stopped at this traffic light. Although she's a kid, she's gonna have to have a lift, isn't she? Okay. I knew it was going to happen again, but it still irritated me. Pedestrians passed by in front of the car. I was startled to see that one of them looked like Satoshi-kun. It was him. Though I'd spoken with him on the phone just a couple of days before, it had been a while since I saw him last. Kasai, sorry, but could you tell my uncle that I can't come today? I'm getting off here. What? Shion-san? Kasai looked taken aback, but I got out of the car regardless. The light turned green. The car behind him honked while Kasai was shouting at me, so he had to start moving. Satoshi-kun was on his bike, but he was going really slowly. I caught up with him in a flash and tapped him on the back. Hello. I'm surprised to see you in Akanamaya, Satoshi-kun. If I talked to him with a smile, he might smile back. So I smiled as brightly as I could. Mion. I was going to say he just looks tired instead of depressed. I was wondering if they were going for depressed. He looked tired as always, but as I could tell, he was trying to smile back. Yeah, that's a good attempt. My worries suddenly disappeared. I was certain I looked happy. I was aware of that myself, so it must have been obvious to Satoshi-kun. There we go, turn that frown upside down, sir. I don't know the circumstances, but you look happy. Yeah, I am happy. I'm happy because you look happy. When I teased him, he looked a bit embarrassed. It was like we were back in the good old days. I felt even happier than before. What's going on, Satoshi-kun? Did something good happen? Not really. My aunt died and I have to deal with the police and the neighbours. I might have asked something dumb. He seemed to be okay with it though. He'd frowned a bit at first, but Satoshi-kun continued smiling gently. He looked worn out, but satisfied, like he had accomplished something great. That was the mood I sensed from him. So, I was convinced. The one who killed that wicked aunt who tormented Sadako was him. I had absolutely no proof, but I knew it intuitively. Yeah, it's pretty much a certainty, you know. So I omitted all those questions. I knew Satoshi-kun's motive for killing his aunt, and how badly he was driven into a corner. I knew the environment and the situation he was in. And I knew Satoshi-kun's feelings. I knew all of that. So I omitted all those questions. I wanted to celebrate his release from that curse, so I smiled like nothing was different as I asked. Where are you going, Satoshi-kun? To work? That's right. I have to make a stop before that, though. A stop? I have to make sure it's still there, otherwise I'll continue feeling really anxious. That conversation reminded me. The reason he started his part-time job was to buy Sadako a huge teddy bear. It was being sold at the toy store just down the street. I recalled that the teddy bear was very expensive. Sadako's birthday was right after the festival. I wasn't sure what day though. Wait, didn't he say he quit his job? Maybe he was going to greet his ex-co-workers and clean out his locker or something. Either way, he'd be completely free very soon. Maybe he hadn't been paid yet. That's why he wanted to check if they still had the teddy bear. Maybe he was only getting paid on Sadako's birthday. Maybe. When we got near the toy store, he rushed to the display window. He looked relieved that it hadn't been sold yet. Ah, that's a good smile. Good, good. Alright. It's still there. You've earned enough money already, haven't you? Why don't you reserve it? Oomph? He probably hadn't thought of that. He's not very good with shopping. He really did need someone to look after him. Well, he could do a murder alright, you know. I looked into the display window over his shoulder. The teddy bear wasn't that cute in my opinion. It looked huge and cramped in the middle of the store's showcase. Really, it looked more like a display model than an item for sale. I don't see a price tag. Is that really for sale? How much is it? Yeah. I'm sure they sell it. What about the price? Does it fit your budget? It's alright, I already checked. Satoshi-kun thought I was teasing him again. He pouted and looked a little sulky. It's no problem then. Why don't you go reserve it now? Then you won't have to feel anxious anymore. We entered the store and looked for a clerk. Is anybody here? Ah, nice! Maybe you can get it without paying. No, Mion. Stealing is bad. It was a joke, sir. Just kidding. Trying to make you laugh. Do you think I'd really do that? No, sorry. Satoshi-kun smiled apologetically. I puffed at my cheeks to tease him. It had really been a while since the last time we did this. In between those times, many undesirable things happened that I wanted to forget. But now I felt as though all those things simply vanished into the air around us. I found an old person napping in the back. He must be the clerk, I thought. He looked to be fast asleep. Excuse me, you work here, right? I poked his shoulder, but he didn't look like he was going to wake up. God alive. Is he on drugs or what? When I did that, a middle-aged woman wearing an apron came in. Grandpa, you fell asleep again. We have customers. I'm really sorry, you two. He's been very flaky, you know. The middle-aged woman shook the old man awake and told him to go back to the living room. She went to the cash register after that. That was so embarrassing. So, how can I help you? I'd like to reserve something. That big teddy bear in the display window. Oh, that one? You sure? That one's really expensive. You know that, right? Yes. I think I have enough. He'll get paid really soon, so he'd like to reserve it. The woman looked a bit hesitant at first, but she eventually wrote down Satoshi-kun's name and accepted the reservation. Satoshi-kun received a slip of paper, like a receipt or deposit or something. See? You don't have to worry about the teddy bear anymore. Yeah, I'll get paid soon too. I feel relieved now. He would have kept coming to check every day if he hadn't done this now. He would have spent his time needlessly worrying. I would still worry, to be honest. Even if something's reserved, you don't know if somebody's come along will pay more in secret and then they'll say, we lost it, or, something along those lines. I'd worry. Satoshi-kun looked very relieved indeed. Indeedly. I should have done it sooner. Usually people do that right away when they want something. It's very rare for somebody not to think of that. Oomph. It's all very fun to tease him. It seems it. Those painful days seem unbelievable now. Satoshi-kun looked like he'd forgotten everything that happened up until yesterday. Anyway, thanks. Satoshi-kun held out his hand to touch my head. Was he going to stroke it? I felt my face reddening already. Even before he touched my head, I felt tingly, remembering the last time. I didn't care about the murder, or whatever else happened. As long as Satoshi-kun had his freedom, everything would be alright. I'd be content as long as we could live happily from today onward. But Satoshi-kun's hand never reached my head. I slowly opened my eyes, only to realize that the situation had drastically changed. There were 4 men in suits blocking our way. Looked as though they'd been waiting for us to exit the toy store. Oh god. Happiness gone. Hello. The oldest of the 4 men stepped forward while smirking. I'd never met this man, but it looked like he knew both Mion and Satoshi-kun. Yup. He was probably a cop. I ran a search for information in my head, and found some right away. Good to see both of you, Hojo-san and Sonozaki-san. I'm sorry to bother you at a time like this. This must be Kaoru Ooishi, the cop who's investigating a series of mysterious deaths. He thinks that the Sonozaki family is behind all the cases. In other words, he's an enemy of the Sonozaki family. He has deep connections with other investigation divisions in the police force, and likes to nose around the businesses in this area. He annoys the Sonozaki family enough, as it is, by interfering with its Yakuza business, let alone his suspicions on the series of mysterious deaths. How could he? Naturally, as a family successor, he's not a welcome figure to Mion Sonozaki. I tried to imagine how Sis would react. Oh, Ooishi-san, thank you for working hard for our safety. Oh, the 4 of you want something from this toy store? A doll, maybe? I know what they want. And it's not a toy. It's probably not me either. They want Satoshi-kun. I took a look at Satoshi-kun. He seemed a bit uncomfortable. The other 3 cops loosely surrounded us to prevent our escape. Hojo-san, I'd like to talk to you about something. What for? Are you taking him to the station? You don't have to go with him, Satoshi-kun. Let's get out of here. I pushed on his shoulder, but he just stood there, looking pale and bewildered. Bewildered? No, he actually looked resigned. Then, I recalled Sis's mistake. It's obvious that he killed his aunt from the circumstances. You don't even have to look at the crime scene. How could Mion have failed to create an alibi? That stupid Mion must have spoken to the police without making anything up at all. She must have not told them that she knew where Satoshi-kun was. If she hadn't done anything, the villagers wouldn't work to help her. It was just a matter of time till the police uncovered Satoshi-kun's complete lack of an alibi. The police were trying to corner him and lead him to confess. I looked at Satoshi-kun's face once again. He looked like a dead man. He probably didn't know he could refuse to be interrogated. If he was taken to the station and grilled by Ooishi, he'd confess in a minute. Somebody had to protect him. Nobody had ever been there for him. I had to step up now. But how? Would it be possible to alter what Mion had already told him, saying it was a mistake? That wasn't going to work. I like how they sort of inverted the colours, or put another filter over it, at least. If I had more time, I'd come up with an excellent idea. But I didn't have that much time at all. To pressure him, the cops were drawing nearer. Satoshi-kun must have felt intimidated. He might end up turning himself in due to the pressure while I'm stuck trying to come up with something. I have to do something now. I have to say something. Otherwise Satoshi-kun might give in. I have to save him. Ooishi drew nearer. Satoshi-kun fell back. Oh. It won't take much time. Come on, don't be scared. It didn't take much time. He just said it. He just said he wouldn't let him out if he caught him now. Satoshi-kun, don't give in. If you give in now, everything you've been working for will be ruined. Oh. Satoshi-kun looked like he was at his breaking point. Ooishi was clearly aware of it. Ooishi smirked and held out his arm to grab Satoshi-kun's shoulder. I felt electrified when I saw that. The hand shouldn't be allowed to touch Satoshi-kun. The moment Ooishi touched his shoulder, he'd give in. He'd go to the police station and confess everything. Do you want to know his alibi? Ooishi turned his face towards me, his hand left hanging in the air. I wasn't very prepared for this. I just had to stop Ooishi no matter what. I only needed to gain some time. It didn't really matter what I said. That's right. I want to get Hojo-san's alibi. Ha! We must not be doing our jobs. We can't seem to confirm his whereabouts at the time of the crime. It's shameful, but we decided to question him in person. You don't have to ask him. I can confirm his alibi. Oh, really? That'd help. You already told me that you were at the festival that night, and many people can confirm it. It'd be easier if we could confirm that Hojo-san was with you. But I don't think you mentioned him when I questioned you last time, did you? You're going to change your statement now? Even though no one at the festival saw Hojo-san, you're going to tell me he was with you? That's right. He was with me. Wouldn't that be enough? I know you were there with your other friends that night. I saw that myself. Let me have a drink a sec. It's quite hot today. There we go. You're still saying that you were with him? Well, isn't that a little too hard to believe? Isn't it? Ooishi approached me with a creepy smile. Was he teasing me because my excuse sounded funny? I didn't think so. He was frustrated due to being interrupted when he was about to catch a big fish. You saying that you forgot that you were with him, but just now remembered you actually were? Mion Sonzaki-san? I did get a little scared, but I couldn't stop myself. I could save Satoshi-kun if I revealed my real identity, if she said she was Shion. I was aware of the risk. Grandma would certainly capture me if I revealed it. I didn't think of the consequences after that. Notebook, page 27. Is she going to reveal herself, though, to her family in order to save Satoshi? Yep. I'm not Mion Sonzaki. I didn't go to the Watanagashi festival in the first place. Huh? Satoshi-kun and I were talking in a restaurant in Okanamaya at that time. The name of the place is Angel Mort. Yay! For some reason, whenever I hear that name, whenever I read that name, is quite nostalgic. You can confirm that with the owner if you want. Ooishi was still smirking, but he apparently felt confused. Excuse me. What are you saying? If you aren't Mion, then who are you? I'm Shion Sonzaki, Mion's twin sister. Pleasure to meet you, Ooishi-san. Ooishi looked perplexed, like he didn't believe what I'd said. He frowned. I didn't know Mion Sonzaki-san had a twin sister. You trying to fool me? Not at all. Why don't you check my family register or whatever? Should I call sis? All the cops looked bewildered now. Shion Sonzaki-san? Yes, that's me. Is there anything wrong? Can you come with us? If you're testifying that you were with Hojo-san that night, I'll have to talk to you too. Sure thing. Please go easy on us. The cops gathered at their car and started discussing something. Looked like they never expected this to happen. I hope to be able to fake Satoshi-kun's alibi for at least a little while. It shouldn't be too difficult to talk to sis about this and forge up an alibi together. Satoshi-kun, tell them you were chatting with me at Angel Mort that night, no matter what they ask, okay? I'll confirm your alibi. Tell them you don't remember that night too clearly, or maybe you should just keep silent. Satoshi-kun wore a startled expression. Though I was telling him something important, he'd apparently decided not to listen. See, she's saying this alibi. Maybe it's meant to be earlier in the night, before the police interrogated him a bit at the murder scene. Can you hear me, Satoshi-kun? You can't mess this up, okay? Okay. He must have been feeling deceived. No wonder. I just confessed that I wasn't Mion, but her twin sister. I really had been deceiving him. You upset? Why? Because I've been fooling you. Satoshi-kun started laughing. I didn't know why he'd laugh, because he wasn't the type of person who would laugh in order to hide something. I finally understand why you were so weird sometimes in class. I've been thinking it was a bit strange. Aren't you upset that I've been fooling you? Satoshi-kun looked puzzled. Just like he didn't know whether he should be upset about it or not. Maybe he was only pretending to be that way. So, this isn't the first time we've met, is it? Oh, well, yes, that's right. Okay. How'd you write your name? With the characters for poetry and sound. Shion. Huh. Huh? That's a beautiful name. Could you please come with us to the station? We can get you instant coffee or tea if you'd like. Ah, that was quite nice actually, I really liked that. So Shion has revealed herself to be Shion. For the first time, a lot of her friends are going to see that there's two of them. They might have known before, I don't know. But there's two of them. And it's been Mion all along. Notebook page 29. Yeah, let's check it out. What's that? Absentee present. Yeah, and the music's going so well with this part as well, with the revelation, and it's quite sad but sort of happy at the same time. As if she's relieved to get out there, you know, as herself. Anyways, notebook page 29. Either Satoshi-kun was smart or very lucky. Or maybe it wasn't him. The police found nothing at the crime scene to indicate his involvement in the murder. Yet Satoshi-kun was still the prime suspect. Considering his home environment, he had a strong enough motive. He had no alibi. The police had everything other than physical evidence. It wasn't surprising that Ooishi took a chance. He probably didn't expect me to step in, but what I did was too little to avert his suspicion of Satoshi-kun. Ooishi believed that Satoshi-kun did it. He was waiting for Satoshi-kun to fall apart and confess. That's what both Ooishi and I were thinking, but that hypothesis was destroyed later on. I'll not talk about it now, but Ooishi's theory will be disproven, and the police will be thrown into shock. Well, spoilers. A question comes to mind. That is, who saved Satoshi-kun? I can only think of the possibility that the Sonozaki family invented the culprit. So the Sonozaki family protected one of the Hojo family, who they hated so much during the Dam War and everything. Possibly, if her theory's right. I'm looking forward to seeing if it is right. I want to carry on, but better stop. This has been Greeny XI. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit when we go for chapter 7 and see if the good times keep going. I say good times. Oh, we know this series is not going to be good, but you know. Thanks again for watching, folks. See you again in a bit.